Welcome to the Software People Stories. I'm Shiv.
I'm Chitra.
And I'm Gayatri.
We bring you interesting, untold stories of people
Associated with the creation
Or consumption of software-based solutions.
You'll hear stories of what worked,
and sometimes what didn't,
you will also hear very personal experiences.
and insights that would trigger your thoughts
And inspire you to do even greater things.
Before we jump into today's conversation, a special thanks to PM Power Consulting for encouraging and supporting this show right from the start. With over 1,000 person-years of collective experience, PM Power has helped many organizations, teams, and individuals chart out their own journeys of excellence and make progress. Thank you, PM Power. Now, let's move to today's episode.
An evolution of data through the experiences of Lekha Bajpai, CTO at Aspire for Her, was a conversation that was made for a cloudy afternoon. Bright sparks flowed from her experiences while developing software early on in her career for managing the discharge of coal onto rail wagons precisely with a complex control system that we now know as IoT, to convincing warehouse supervisors and truck drivers about the importance of entering the right data, which they then realized helped them sleep better at night and improve business productivity. Lekha has seen the evolution and continues to talk, inspire, and investigate now about AI and its future. With us here on the Software People Stories podcast. Listen on.
So, Lekha, while you did this, what have you observed as cornerstone data fundamentals that need to be in place for any organization to successfully deliver timely insights on data?
Of course, real time has always been the focus, but not all applications are able to project things real time. It was not the case, and even right now also people talk about near real time, which they say is like real time. It might be the data processing, and the reasons for it is the data processing does take some time to happen. Some of the data processing, not only data processing, earlier this was called data processing, and if I relate to my days of market research, market research traditionally has worked on collection of data and doing a processing of data, which is on various tools like SPSS and all those things, and they would then derive probably a regression and give some data out, and various parameters of that would be presented out to the researchers who would actually derive the insights. Slowly what happened is once these tools came in, and those days it used to take a week, or probably least it would come down to is like 5 days or 4 days. I've not seen because there was a lot of to and fro between the tools and the researcher. They would have to play around. Now, can you give me data in this particular format? Can you give me data in that particular format? So all those things used to happen, and that's why a week would definitely be there. It would be sometimes more also.
Yeah. So data preparation took time.
Took a lot of time, and then came in these tools. Now you pump in the data internally, or you've gathered the data in various different aspects. The system will take some time for cleaning. They might be throwing out errors, and the preparation of the data, as you said. So then there would be some manual interventions also, which came in to clean up the data, make it ready for getting uploaded into tools. Then the data processing, the actual processing of that algorithm which was there, that would take some time to happen. And that was also because GPUs were not there those days. So basic CPUs, everything is running on CPUs. Some of the analytics which would happen might take 2 hours, 5 hours. That also would happen depending on the vastness of the data. So usually people started saying that we will report near real-time data. And when there are complex operational activities happening, then near real-time data is also very, very valuable. which is giving a lot of outputs, insights to the business owners. And when I'm coming from a research and analytics company, so the delivery of the data collection would take a long time, because the data collection means going out to people and talking to them, and then getting either a survey filled in or somebody fills in what they are talking about, and or there's an observational analysis or something like that happens, and the data is getting collected. So multiple sets of such things used to happen, and then the data collection. So data collection was a massive exercise, and how to do those data collections in different ways. How do you use and AI is not that some which has come up now. AI has been there for a long time. I was reading through the history. I think 50 years AI has been there.
Yeah.
So
I was kind of hoping you're going to say that, because
so yeah, so
it has been there.
It's been there for so long, but it's never been blown up in such a big way, and users wanting to use it, everyone wanting to have learn AI has been really a big, massive change. With using those AI algorithms, which are machine learning algorithms, which are developed, things could be done in a faster way. Reportings, the turnaround time for reportings definitely changed quite a lot. Building up warehouses, designing those warehouses, the architecture for the warehouse is even now it is very, very important.
Now it is a challenge also. Yeah,
it's always a challenge. Not only
Yes.
warehouses now you talk about lakes, data lakes, and so many more things. So
new terms for the same thing, would you say, Lekha?
actually, the technology has increased. It's not
Yeah.
just new terms, but if you say a data lake is a absolute different type of way it is put up.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
technologies have improved. Though we might be, if we have to actually implement it and all from the user point of view, it might be something similar which is happening, because they are not seeing the results. But what is happening is the turnaround time is getting increased. The way people are able to scale up those applications is increasing. The type of data sets which can go inside is increasing. So there's a lot of new things which are happening in the I would say the evolution of data probably. And people are, the expectation with all of that, the expectation from people definitely is increasing a lot. They want an output to come out very, very fast.
Yeah.
So what we also did was we tried to, as I said, I was into corporates for a long time. I tried to get into consulting, and then I went back to corporates. I said probably that was not what I preferred. I preferred working a lot more with users' involvement and getting their concept and how do I actually implement the new technology. So then after that, I did the reverse way. Like you mentioned, you went into from a product to a technology management. I did from all this management. I then finally started developing products for the company for market research. And we developed a product where we could gather data from various sources, put it up into a different single platform, and the reporting could happen overnight. So those were the things where initially, we used to, there were restrictions on usage of cloud. Costs were always a problem. So we started, when we used to start a concept, we used to start it on our desktops. And we know that the desktop processing will take ages and ages, but we also got some GPU machines and all of that just for our trials and all. And finally, when our trials were over and when we had some proper implementation of a technology, we would then move it out to the cloud. So what we used to also do is, we have to sell this technology to our users or our to the business teams. and so that they can make a product out of it. So we used to actually do what we did every year. My development team, what we used to do is we used to have a competition within our team, because we have to learn the new technologies, and that's the nature of a software person, that you need to learn more technology, you need to more. But whether the business wants it or not is a question always. So it used to happen that towards the end of the year, like December used to be a lean period for us. So December we used to start a challenge where we would give our developers some particular use cases on, let's say you want to do some NLP work, you want to do some image analytics work, you want to do some speech to text or text to speech, something like that, or develop some neural network. So with that, we used to have some learning courses aligned for them. They used to do learnings, make groups of people. They used to do learnings on that specific topic which they have selected. And so the use case was defined for them. And then once they had made a POC, we used to present it out to the business, saying that this as a Shark Tank. And it's just a concept of Shark Tank, but the business were the sponsors, and they would then pick out the tool which would be interesting for them and see how they could convert it to a product. Well, we had to do this because the demands, because technology is becoming very popular everywhere, and research is always a industry where the need for new technology is the latest technology is always there. And they would say, oh, have you heard about this particular technology? Have you heard about this next one? So how do we then use that and create their own use cases? So we would say, okay, now we have got affluent in this particular technology. Now and this is a small use case which we can give. Now you become the product owner and you define how this product can be used in the market. So with that, we developed a lot of products, and it was a very exciting phase. So it was a challenge for the team. It was a Shark Tank for the business, and all of that went very nicely, and it went our products also started getting made and being adopted in the market.
That's nice. Looks like you've sort of been ahead of the curve throughout your career, Lekha. That's what it
So I
completely
think that's
sounds
what.
like.
Yeah, I think that's what I believe in. One thing, the CIOs have to actually work in. They play a different 4 type of roles. They play a strategist role. They become a catalyst with the business. They are always a technologist because that's their bread and butter, I would say, and an operator. So they have always been the technologist and the operator, and that's what technology people only look at, being a technologist and an operator. But CIOs and the business and the senior leaders, they need to become a strategist and a catalyst. Both these two things become very important for them to take things further.
Yeah, true. So in this, the last couple of years, we've seen the explosion of so much new tech, so many new tools, which almost make AI seem like child's play, right? Everyone, whether it's generative AI, getting better at engaging users using AI, so many, I mean, millions and millions of use cases depending on the sector that you're in. But very often one also sees people getting very overwhelmed, whether it's businesses that need to head down that path. So they're thinking about investment. How soon can I realize ROI from this investment? And then there are people at the other end of the spectrum, students and people, freshers coming out of college saying, I want to be part of this. What have you been telling people or advising them right now in terms of how to look at it, how to approach it, how to make the best and the most of what we have around us? Because it calls for a lot of, it calls for investment. It calls for time for people to learn. I somehow have always felt that many years ago, there appeared to be even that lean period that you described, people had time to actually focus and get that little POC done to show people the possibilities, right? But today it doesn't seem like people even have that amount of uh, space, because good innovation, I feel, always happens during periods of quiet silence, where you're working on something, you're sort of putting something together, and then suddenly it comes together, and you need that quiet, you need that time. So uh, what in your what shall I say, your bag of wisdom would you like to share with people in terms of how to leverage AI the best possible way today?
Yeah, so you very rightly mentioned, Chitra, that AI is like touching the roof right now.
Yeah.
And with generative AI, the explosion which has happened in technology is something which is very, very it's so big. Um, it's so difficult for everyone to understand everything, and
Hmm.
the time frame to deliver has been reduced drastically. There were so many concepts came up in between, like agile methodology and MVP coming up and all these things. So now when I talk about MVP, they say, we have to redefine what MVP means. So MVP might mean something to you differently, but what it means to me is something different. So let us first think about what do we want as an MVP.
Right.
So anyways, those definitely those debates will happen, and further also. But the the scale at which, after Gen AI has come up, the scale at which the explosion is happening is very, very big, and there is a lot of pressure on technology teams to adopt those
Yeah.
technologies.
Yeah.
Whether they are secured or not is not looked at. Many of the companies are not able to use various Gen AI tools, only because some of them are not secured, or the risk management has not been done on the usage of those tools. But still, people will use it. If they don't use it on their on the company laptops, they will use it on their personal laptops, and they will use it. You cannot stop that explosion. So many people I've seen are changing their behavior and saying, like earlier it used to be bring your own device, now it is bring your own AI. So that's also coming in.
I like that. Yeah. Oh my God.
So
Yeah.
I don't think we as technology people should stop that
Yeah.
explosion. In fact, we should ride the wave of that explosion and see how we can adopt those technologies and make it usable for the organization. There are architectures which actually help you to build Gen AI platforms which are secured. So
Mhm.
we should try and think
Yeah.
on those lines and see how we can leverage that out. So getting on to the statistics of how things will be there in the future, what I read through is that by 2028, 90 around 98% of organizations will be using AI.
Mhm.
AI or Gen AI, whichever, because Gen AI is a part of AI itself. So 98% of people will be using, organizations will be using AI. And the departments which are there, uh, finance department would be the will get the biggest beneficiary of AI. There's so many automations which can be done within finance, and the use of AI will help them out a lot. Uh, there are the other departments which I can see is uh, legal, compliance, R&D, of course. They definitely need to use AI. Um, and a lot of automation of all this will happen with AI tools. So the tech teams would have to actually figure out which is the best way to use a particular technology, which API would be the most secured API to use. How does my data not get public? How do I protect
Yep.
data privacy? All those concerns are there. There are lots of challenges in use of Gen AI also. And I'm sure over the period, even the bias which the data has, like I was reading through that especially bias for India data is quite difficult. So if you tell Copilot to give me a picture of a student, the student will always be an English student,
Yes,
or
yes,
a white student. Never,
yes.
they don't get you an Indian. Even if you say Indian, I just put up studying in something. So in a college. So there was a sari clad lady who was
You'll
shown.
get a cliched stereotyped image, which is,
Absolutely, or a big
yeah,
bindi here and some jewelry on the head and all that. I said, this is not what I want.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so that's the challenge basically, which and also because if from India we have not used that data for training these models.
Yeah, yeah.
So people are now building their own data sets internally in the company and trying to train their own models. And I have seen a few of them who saying that I want to build it on a physical environment. So from a cloud, they were in the cloud and they're saying, because of data privacy issues, I am trying to build this particular model on a local environment.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So which is a very different thing. So they
Yeah.
are using GPUs and building an entire infrastructure internally. Of course, this is for banks because they do not have they cannot, like payments and all, they cannot. All the payment industry is actually trying to build things locally. I was in a conference and I heard NPCI talk about building their entire infrastructure locally. They do not want to put it on the cloud because then there is a major security risk, and they have to use all these Gen AIs, all the tools, all the LLMs they have to use. So they're building all of that locally. So once their data is trained, probably it becomes better for them. Once we have some good data sets out in the cloud also, we will be getting a lot more good data for India users. And I've been training a few people on use of AI, selling AI to a different set of people now, not internally, but externally outside, to management students and management companies. And that's what I get from them, is that they are scared to use AI or Gen AI specifically. But they want to use it also because it gives you so much of benefits. So how does that happen with security? How does the bias get overcome? How does how do companies start using those tools? All that has to be looked into, and the ethics on AI has to be definitely worked upon. We still don't have regulations and norms on that. Slowly, once those norms come in, we will definitely have a much better way of using AI, and the plagiarism which is there in AI, that would be definitely monitored. There are tools to do that also, but when the corporates will be able to get those things in place, then that's the time when internal corporates will start using AI in a very, very big way. And which is like 2028. They say that's how statistics is coming out, saying that 2028 it will be there. And not only for tech users definitely are there. Tech users definitely get a benefit. They get a productivity boost also. So as per some other stats, tech users are getting around a technical boost of 1.1x by 2028.
Wow.
The non-tech people are getting 1.5x boost in productivity, which is something which is very exciting. So
That's
if they
phenomenal.
can, so it's if they can get a boost of 1.5x by use of technology, by use of AI. I don't think that's a place where anybody should be stopped. They should be using it much more. And we have our challenges, technology people challenges, how to make it much more secured.
Yes.
And of course, there are so many other people who are working towards getting a legal setup for it, and the rules for use of AI and such things are definitely happening. So a lot is happening.
While AI is at the core, there is this whole framework around it where you have governance, security, compliance, protection, all of these elements which are so important. So on the contrary, then people should look forward to looking at all these things as well in an AI ecosystem.
Yeah.
And automatically there are, like you very rightly said, awareness programs that can come. So then you are engaging with learning specialists to design awareness programs for users, for creators, uh, for so many people. So, I always come to the end of the podcast with asking guests this question is, what would be your advice for young people who are uh, anxious with what they see coming up as AI? So there's anxiety with respect to, will I be employable? How much of this should I be learning? Will this learning ever be enough? And will I have a career? Let's say I don't have the aptitude, or I'm not interested in getting into the nitty-gritty of building an NLP or a model for predictive analytics, something like that. I really don't have the chops for it, but I love to, let's say, help to build a product and take it to the market out there. So I see the possibility of multiple careers with AI. What's your advice to people aspiring towards being part of this whole wave?
You're very right, Chitra. I think uh, the youngsters, they want to use technology. Or in fact, they want to use AI a lot and all other technologies also. And it's not always that a technology has to be built. There are so many other people who are building technology. And they have to be technology teams in companies also have to use those technology and see how to implement them in the use case which is important for the business. So if there is a predictive analytics algorithm which is already available, it's like, how can I use that algorithm? How can I put an API to that algorithm and use it? So like there are many on the cloud which actually have become analytics platforms who actually can you send an API to them with your data, and you can get your analytics right away. Of course, security wise, you need to work with the partner to see that your data is not exposed out. And there are rules, there are ways to do that, because it's more of an understanding and how do you set up your environment and your architecture to do such things. Now, the data, the people working on these technologies, they need to actually just not worry about the technology part of it. They actually need to worry about how to use those technologies. How do those technologies enable business to actually learn more, like the catalyst part of it? So how do you work towards becoming a catalyst to help the business to grow? And if that is not happening, then people are not able to use those technologies, and driving of those technologies is enabled by technology teams. It's enabled by a lot of business teams who are very fluent on technology. There are many people. It's not always the technology teams who can drive it. It's people in the business also. The youngsters coming in the business, they have a lot of knowledge about the various technologies available and being used in the market, in various other competitions, how it is being used. So they give you a lot of insights. And I used to tell all my developers, you go and have a smoke with the business owner. So some of the girls also used to say, please go and have a smoke there with the business guys. So it's not practically a smoke, but it's like spending time with the business teams to understand what they're trying to do. Where can you pick the gaps, and how can you help them in their understanding? They talk about a particular AI tool. How can you enable that and see that this is it? So their ideas are also very, very important. So we try and means all my team members go out here and there to actually become marketeers to sell technology and grab the demand, and first of all, create the demand. Secondly, grab the demand which they have, and then create the supply. So that's where I think all of us should be working on this.
That's very interesting. Because very few creators or developers actually go out there to see, are you really solving a problem? What is it that can, make a difference in a business? Or let's say, like you mentioned, the supervisor of the warehouse, what changed the quality of his life that enabled him to actually do his job better? How do people discover those things? I think there is potential beyond AI for people to consider it in their
Absolutely.
careers, isn't it, Lekha?
That's true. That's true. And one advice to all technology people is please move out from your desks, move out from your computers, and look at the world outside. You are the window to for people to actually start using technology. So the more you are out with people, you can create awareness, you can create the demand for use of technology. Some people are very good at it. Some people are from the business side. Some people have got brilliant ideas. You grasp their ideas and give your ideas and see how technology can be used. So
I
just looking at data, just looking at language is of not too much of a use. You, of course, is helpful, but the best part is how does the business use that technology?
I think very well put, Lekha, because at the end of the day, I think, will thrive and survive as a human race if we develop empathy for each other by understanding what works, what, like you said in the beginning of the conversation, one of your motivations for studying technology and embarking on this journey was to ensure that it had some purpose to it, that it had some usage. Very nicely put. And thank you so much for being part of this conversation. I look forward to many more with you on a variety of topics which I hope will be relevant for people today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chitra, for listening to me. And I would talk and talk for ages, but and on various topics, so many years of working. But yes, love to speak with you further also on various topics. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We thank Siddharth for the music and Anita for promoting the Software People stories.
If you like this episode,
Please subscribe on your favorite podcast client.
And spread the word in your network.
if you'd like to share your story,
Contact us at podcasts@pm-powerconsulting.com.